May I come in, sir?
Come in, sir.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, ma'am. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir. Please have a seat.
Thank you, sir.
Shoham, tell us about yourselves first.
Sir, I am from Bareilly. I have been born and brought up there, and from where I did my schooling as well. After that, I have done my civil engineering from IIT Bombay. There, I also got the opportunity to be a part of entrepreneurship cell, and I was associated with the helping and mentoring startups. And after that, I worked for a year and a half as a consultant at PwC. And since then, I've been preparing for civil services. In my last attempt, I was selected for Indian Railway Management Service.
Okay. Shoham, when did you complete your graduation? In 2019.
Yes, sir.
You graduated from a very prestigious college. You have also worked in promoting startups and entrepreneurship. Why do you want to join civil services?
Sir, it was while I was working at PwC and I got an opportunity to work at a government project, and there I got the first-hand opportunity to interact with civil servants and also work with them closely. In that experience, I realized about the diversity of work areas which a civil servant gets to work, and I was very inspired by the work which one of the ma'am had done, and I felt that it could be a good career opportunity for me, sir.
Okay. So if you're posted as, let's say, a district collector in your hometown, what are the various areas in which you would like to focus?
So the areas for the Bareilly district would be number one, promotion of tourism. It could be both religious tourism as well as heritage tourism. Second is for the women development. There are a large number of women who are employed in the zari industry, but they're largely unorganized. So I would like to ensure their skill development. And third would be for solid waste management. In Swachhta Sarvekshan, still Uttar Pradesh, Bareilly lags really below.
What are the challenges currently being faced in solid waste management? Because it's in that area, we all know it's a big challenge. Everyone knows it, but why is it still a challenge despite so many years of focus?
Sir, I think that there are multiple challenges, both from the citizen side as well as from the government side. From the citizen side, there is an overall lack of awareness, for example, about even segregation of waste. And second is from the governance side, there is paucity of funds, and there is overall lack of functions and funds with the urban local bodies, which hamper their capacity.
Right. So, tell me key highlights of the budget.
Yes, sir. So key highlights were, number one, being a vote on account. Our Honorable Finance Minister stayed on the fiscal consolidation path. Second is, in terms of capital expenditure, it is being sustained and rather improved to 11.11 lakh crore. Third is that a lot of new schemes were announced. For example, houses for middle class, then 1 lakh corpus for promotion of new technologies.
So it's said that this is an interim budget.
Yes.
How is it different from a full budget?
Sir, it is different from a full budget because Parliament only provides a vote on account. Sir, a vote on account is there because the current government will only be there for 3 months and their elections will come. And once new government is formed, that will present the full budget.
Okay. What does the Constitution has to say about budget and interim budget?
Sir, Constitution under Article 112 asks the government to present its receipts and expenditure separately. And sir, about vote on account, I'm not able to recall the exact provision, sir. I'm sorry, I will read about it.
Is there anything by the name budget in the Constitution of India, or is it something different?
I'm sorry, sir. I will look into the exact details. Sir.
Have you heard of annual financial statement?
Yes, sir. So under Article 112, it says annual financial statements.
That is what we mean by the budget.
Okay,
but tell me, along with the budget, the FRBM Act mandates certain other documents to be presented by the government before the Parliament. What are those documents?
So those documents are, number one, midterm fiscal strategy. Second is overall macroeconomic framework has to be presented.
Okay. All right. My last question on this would be, can you carry out a brief SWOT analysis of Indian economy at present?
Yes, sir. Sir, if we look at strength, Then our overall fundamentals in terms of current account deficit, then our inflation rate and foreign reserves are very good. In terms of weaknesses, we still have to work on reviving private investment, and second is working on rural consumption. In terms of opportunities, I think that opportunities are tremendous in terms of given our demographic dividend and our diversity, and we can perform, reform and transform areas like manufacturing sector, food processing sectors. AI comes to mind. Finally, sir, in terms of threats, I think that threats are largely global in nature in terms of global uncertainties which could hamper, for example, exports, or for example, the current incidents which are happening in Red Sea. I think those are the threats, sir.
All right.
Soham, continuing discussion, Chairman sir. In budget, any relief has been provided to taxpayers?
Sir, the relief is there in terms of the legacy tax disputes which were there. Those have been waived off. And secondly, for startups, the waiver has been continued.
What is the quantum of waiver?
I'm sorry, sir, I'm not able to recall the exact number.
Okay. What is your understanding about GDP?
Sir, GDP refers to gross domestic product, which means that within a geography, how much of goods and services are being produced in a given year.
How it is worked out in India?
Sir, in India, for calculation, there is annual survey of industries, and it is calculated based on the gross value which is being added by the various sectors which are identified by the department.
There is a formula for that. What is that formula?
Sir, if we look from the consumption side, then it is C plus I plus G plus X, sir.
Okay. What is real GDP? Do you know real GDP? How it is worked out?
Yes, sir. Sir, for real GDP, we don't look at inflationary trends, and we look at how much economic production has been happening in real terms. That is, if we don't look at purely inflationary trends, and it is done on constant prices, sir.
Mm-hmm. No, can you just give an example? For example, our normal GDP is, for example, 10%.
So,
and inflation rate is 4%. So what is real GDP?
so real GDP growth would be 10% minus 4.
10% minus 4, okay. What is your understanding about fiscal deficit?
So fiscal deficit refers to the total borrowings of the government to finance the budget. In formula terms, it means that the total expenditure minus all the revenues which are not debt generating.
Okay. What is the projected GDP rate for 2024-25 in the budget? What has been projected?
Sir, nominal growth has been projected to be 10.5%, sir.
Growth in GDP?
Nominal growth rate, yes, sir. Real growth rate, I'm sorry, I'm not able to recall.
Okay.
Right now.
And what is fiscal deficit projected for 2024-25?
Sir, it is 5.1% of GDP.
Okay, okay. You are from Bareilly. What Bareilly is famous for?
Sir, Bareilly is culturally very famous for the jhumka, which is there, and in Bollywood a lot of songs are there and movies are there. But sir, in the local parlance, there is a very vibrant market of Zari Zardozi products. And also sir, bamboo products are very famous.
Okay, okay. Jhumka from which movie? Jhumka Girare?
Sir, jhumka was from Mera Saya movie. Yes sir, Mera Saya movie.
Another product is also there, na? Surma Bareilly ka.
Ji sir, that is also there. Yes.
What is Finance Commission?
Yes, sir. Sir, Finance Commission is set up under Article 280 of the Constitution, and under the Constitution it has to provide for vertical and horizontal devolution of funds to the states.
Who is the present chairman of Finance Commission?
So for the 16th Finance Commission, Professor Arvind Pangaria has been appointed as the chair.
Okay, fine, thank you. Ma'am?
Yeah, sure. Just tell me, have you heard about the national education policy or new education policy? Is it national education policy or new education policy? 2020. What is that? It's called as a NEP.
Yes, ma'am.
Whether it's a national or a new.
I'm sorry, ma'am. I will check it again.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, do you have any idea how this policy is different from the previous policies which we have?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, the differences are largely structural and also in terms of governance. If we look at structural measures which have been taken, one is that in the education system, early education is focused, ECCE. Then secondly, from kindergarten to 12th standard, there are various levels, 3 plus 5 plus 3 plus 5 plus 5 plus 4 is there. I'm sorry, I'm really sorry, I will look at it, but the various levels are there. Then thirdly, in terms of academic bank of credits are being pronounced. In higher education, there is a lot of focus on vocational education. Special education zones are being identified. And in the governance part, ma'am, UGC has been asked to create education curriculum framework and credit framework.
What is credit framework? Previously we didn't have?
Yes, ma'am.
Previously we had the credit framework?
I will check again, ma'am.
Okay. And what is the credit framework here in the new education policy?
And the credit framework is in reference to how the academic credits will be coordinated at both at school level and also at college level. So let's say from 9 to 12 standards, a student has to complete minimum credits, and also those credits can be transferred, say in higher education. So our overall framework is being provided.
Suppose I'm doing UG courses, okay, and it's a 4-year course or a 3-year course, you tell me that also. UG undergraduate course, suppose I want to do BCom or BA or something like that, whether it's a 3-year course or a 4-year course?
And for Bachelor of Technology, it is 4-year course. But
Okay.
For Bachelor of Commerce, it is 3 years.
3 years, even in the new education policy?
I'm sorry, ma'am,
No.
I'll check the details.
Yeah, you should.
Yes, ma'am.
And actually, can you leave in between?
Yes, ma'am. And there is an exit policy.
Exit. What is that?
Ma'am, I'm really sorry. I will
Okay,
explain it.
fine, no problems at all. That means here you can leave it in between and then you can join it after some time. That is there. Now, suppose I am doing commerce. Okay, can I take any subject with respect to the like history? Can I take, or can I take any other philosophy subject or social subject along with my commerce subject?
Yes,
Can
ma'am, yes, ma'am. A multidisciplinary
How can it be
approach.
possible?
Ma'am, within the credit framework only, some humanities credits have to be taken, for example, alongside commerce. For example, ma'am, even in our college, we had to take certain electives outside our core curriculum. Yes, ma'am.
It's compulsory or it's an optional thing? To
It is
take
compulsory.
it's compulsory as a general electives. Okay, fine. If it is there, then in that case, you just tell me that as Chairman Sir has asked, the SWOT analysis. With respect to that only I'm asking. In the SWOT analysis, what exactly you mean by the SWOT analysis? I was hearing your answer
Yes, ma'am.
to, I got confused in the SWOT analysis, what you have to. What do you exactly mean by the SWOT analysis? Tell me that.
Ma'am, in SWOT analysis, we do a comprehensive study and a critical study of the state. Say particularly in this case, sir asked about the economy. And then we identify strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats. Given the paucity of time, I was referring to some of the reports, but when we do a more comprehensive study, then data is usually looked into, and larger and micro trends are studied with more scrutiny, ma'am.
Okay, the last question from my side. What is the difference between mindfulness and meditation?
So, ma'am, based on my limited understanding as to what I have read online, mindfulness is you can always practice it, and it means to be fully aware of the conscious and the surroundings. While meditation is you do it within a specific constraints and specific time period, and then you sit. And then within meditation also there are various forms. For example, dharana is there, or you can just simply sit with your thoughts.
Soham, so you have mathematics as an option, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So what is the philosophical relevance of zero?
Sir, philosophically, if we look purely in mathematics term, then another place value system, philosophically, it would mean that place really matters rather than its actual value. If 0 is placed, say, left or right of 1, then the whole game changes. And then, sir, there are other meanings also. For example, in our ancient history, 0 was related to Buddhism, Shunyavad, and with Advaita philosophy, sir.
So what does Shunyavad say?
Sir, Shunyavad says that it talks of non-duality, where there is nothing absolute form is there.
So it talks about indescribability.
Yes, sir.
Okay. You are in IRMS right now.
Yes,
You're on leave?
yes, sir.
So regarding the budget as asked by the Honorable Chair, what are the provisions with respect to the railways?
Sir, sir, if we look at overall budget provision, then 2.55 lakh crore have been approved. Then there are specific corridors which have been announced. 3 are there. One is for energy minerals. Second is there for connectivity to ports. And third is there for high density routes. And then for Vande Bharat trains also, 40,000 train coaches would be replaced with the Vande Bharat coaches, sir.
Are they being replaced or being upgraded?
I'm sorry, sir, I will check into the specific details again, sir.
What are the types of coaches that we are using in the Indian Railways?
Sir, historically we had been using ICF coaches, but now government has a policy that only LHB coaches would be produced, and now new Vande Bharat coaches are also being produced, sir.
So what is the difference between the integral coach factory and the Link Hoffman Bosch?
Sir, the differences are in terms of overall aesthetics, mechanical engineering features, and also the safety features. Particular example are in terms of how the brakes are applied and how the coupling system is there. LHB coaches are more safe, sir.
Recently, we saw India signing a MOU with one of the countries regarding the exploration of lithium reserves. Are you aware of that?
Yes, sir. It was with Argentina, sir.
So, Argentina is a part of lithium triangle?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any place in India which you remember when it comes to lithium reserves?
Sir, recently in Jammu Kashmir, lithium reserves were identified.
Any specific district?
I'm sorry, sir.
In addition to Jammu Kashmir, any other place?
I'm sorry, sir. I'm not able to recall the details, sir.
What's your view on the capital punishment?
Yes, sir. Sir, I think that capital punishment should be given in the rarest of rare cases when the crime is extremely heinous. However, we should also focus on reformative justice, and we should look at other parameters also, which Supreme Court has laid out in Bachchan Singh case. I think that it should be done in rarest of rare cases, sir.
Are you aware about an incident which happened in the Alabama state of US recently regarding capital punishment only?
Yes, sir. It was about use of a gas.
Which
which
gas?
was there. I'm sorry, sir. I'm not able to recall.
So it was the use of nitrogen gas for execution.
Yes, sir.
So what are your views on that?
Sir, based on the committee, it was studied that the gas would not lead to a lot of suffering. However, as per newspaper reports, it was found that the person who was given the punishment suffered a lot.
What was the procedure used before nitrogen was used? What is the usual procedure in the US?
I don't know, sir.
Okay, final question for you. I'll give you a statement. I would like to know your interpretation on that.
Yes, sir.
It says that we are not what we are. We are what we are not.
Sir, based on my understanding, I think that it would mean that a human being has a lot of potential, and while at the surface he would have achieved a lot of things, but there is a long, long way to go, and one should never stop.
That's right. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Shoham,
No.
first of all, I would like to know the name of meaning of your name, Shoham. What does it mean, and any personality, big name associated with your name?
So, ma'am, Shoham answers the question, who am I? And in Sanskrit, it means that I am that. It relates to the Advaita philosophy only. And ma'am, famous name, there's a singer, Soham Chakrabarti, ma'am.
All right. So my next question is, before our Prime Minister, before visiting Ayodhya Ram Temple, he visited Kalaram Temple. Can you tell me any historical significance of this temple, Kalaram Temple, and where it is? And to specify, my question means that any significance related to temple entry movement or Dalit Satyagraha, and who is related to that?
I'm sorry, ma'am, I have to read about it.
All right, I would like to answer a little
Okay,
bit.
yes, ma'am.
Kalaram Temple is associated with Dalit Satyagraha taken up by Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar there. You must read about it. I think it will be a
Sure, I
proper
will.
question.
Thank you, ma'am.
All right. So my next question is, you have mentioned that you play Sudoku, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you tell me a little bit about this game and any personality associated with this game? You know?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, Sudoku is a number game where you have to fill in the blank numbers based on 3 rules, that within row, column, and the small square, the number should not be repeated. And ma'am, I solve it on a daily basis. There are different levels. All the leading newspapers provide one or other form of Sudoku. And ma'am, leading names are within India. Mr. Rohan Rao has been representing India at World Sudoku Championships.
Okay. And so you have mentioned that your first zone preference is zone 2, and in that Uttar Pradesh is your first preference. So let's say you are posted in Pratapgarh district of Uttar Pradesh, okay? And there's a famous product here, which is, and the district is known world level pe.
Okay.
So what is that product?
I'm sorry, ma'am, I don't
So
know.
it's Amla, Indian gooseberry.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah. And can you tell me the characteristics of Amla, Indian gooseberry? Have you
Yes, ma'am.
consumed the product of
Yes, ma'am.
Amla ever?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So can you tell me the characteristics?
Ma'am, it is rich in vitamin C. Yes, ma'am.
All right. So have you read a little bit about this? Does it have a GI tag also?
I have to read about it. Sorry, ma'am.
Okay, please read about it because
ma'am.
Pratapgarh, Uttar Pradesh is your first preference, right? So Amla is world, that Pratapgarh is world known for Amla production. So, okay. And one more thing, do you know Amla is which type of crop? Is Kharif or Rabi?
No, ma'am, I will read about it, ma'am. I don't know.
All right, no problem. So my next question will be, do you read a newspaper daily? I'm sure you must be reading. So there was a news about digital detox.
Yes, ma'am.
What is that?
Ma'am, digital detox.
It's an sorry to interrupt.
Sorry, ma'am.
Digital detox initiative started by a government. Which government started this? Which state government started this? And what do you mean? And what is the disadvantages of having a lot of screen time? Okay, you know, in terms of sleep deprivation and all, and other associated issues and other challenges. And let's say you are posted in a district, and there are a group of women who comes to you with a complaint that they're not able to tell their children to reduce the screen time. So how will you sensitize the parents to tell the children to decrease the screen time?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Ma'am, it was recently news because Karnataka government has started an initiative. And ma'am, about your second part, in terms of various disadvantages or the effects, it could affect the mental health of the child. Then in terms of harmful games and also about use of social media, given the spread of fake news and also sexually expressed content. Recently, Mark Zuckerberg also apologized in the US court with the same context. And then regarding the last part, I think that it is difficult to contain, and I think a whole of government approach can be taken for that. One is that we need to overall promote mental health issues and need to spread awareness. It can be made part of education curriculum. Second is training workshops can be held in schools so to sensitize students. And third is we can work with a technology firm to have some sort of time-enabled mechanism where, say, after 2 hours screen time, there is a notification that you have exceeded. So maybe we can work on these fronts now.
So this is at the school level, but I have seen in homes and everywhere around me that children of age 2 years, they are watching the game, you know, the cartoons and all most of the times, and the screen time is too much. How will you sensitize and the parents of such age children that how to condition the child not to have so much screen time?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, it would depend on the level where I'm working. As a district magistrate, maybe I can work with the local media firms, newspaper firms, and also with the local level community leaders and say resident welfare associations to have some sort of workshops. And then at state or national level, we can have a dedicated policy again to work with parents where they also realize the effects of it. And maybe we can have some sort of, again, technology interventions for the same.
All right. So you have studied from IIT Bombay, as I can see. So there has been instances of increased suicide in big institution, and also in the area where the students are taking coachings for IIT and such competitive examination. There has also been seen increased rates of suicide. What do you think is the reason? If it is stress, how to tell the parents or the children to handle such stress? And in IITs, is it institutional discrimination, or is it the individual level inability to deal with stress? What do you think is the cause of increasing suicides?
I think that stress is one of the major factors. However, there are other institutional factors also. For example, lack of counselors. Then in terms of curriculum, usually rote learning is emphasized, and students are not able to understand, and then they feel a lot of pressure when there are competitive exams. Then finally, demand-supply mismatch leading to hyper competition. And ma'am, in IITs, there was a committee which was formed, and it said that there is no institutional level of discrimination, and IITs have been taking a lot of steps for the same. For example, ST Council was also being found, and then counseling centers are also being created. And at institution level, programs like ISMP, which I was part of, are being framed, ma'am.
That's all. That's from me. Thank you.
Okay, Shoham. With this, your formal interview is over.
Sure.
Before we go ahead with your feedback, can you assess your own performance? How was your performance? What do you think went good and what you could improve?
Sir, I think that there are a lot of...
You can relax.
Yes, sir. There are a lot of areas of improvement. One is that I was not aware of a lot of specific things, and I should have been more thorough in terms of my understanding of the topic, and also while communicating it, I should also be more exact, and it should not come out to be unstructured.
That's it? Okay. My assessment is that your communication is very good. You are polite, and what you know and what you want to say, you are able to communicate. That is something. The few areas of improvement that I would suggest. One is you're sitting very robotically. Your hand is, I've not seen your even finger move a bit. You don't need to be so stiff about it. Right? A little bit of hand gesture is always fine. Okay? Because it's not that you have to sit. It appears that you are tutored to sit stiff and not to move hands. It is not so.
Okay.
Right? Second is, any panelist is asking you questions, then you are only focusing on that side only. So a little bit of eye contact with others for a moment is also good. That's rather better. It engages them also in your answer, right? So try to work upon that. Don't look on one side alone. In between, when you find right, in an informal conversation also, we always look at other participants also. And one thing is that in many of the questions you did not know answer, and you said, I'll look at it or I'll go back and check it. We are here to assess you on what you bring here and what you know. What you go back and check, we are not going to assess you on that. And we don't even know whether you'll go back and check at all, right? So rather than saying that or committing that you'll go back and check, you can rather simply say, so I'm sorry, I don't know, or I don't recall at the moment. That's it. That's sufficient, right? It will save you some words, okay? And yeah.
It was all fine from my side, yes, I agree with whatever Chairman Sir said about a little bit of not being too robotic, and yes, I did ask some factual questions which are actually very much in news and they might appear, and these days there are a lot of news regarding our Prime Minister visiting various temple sites, and yes, those temples and religious significance and all will not be asked, but I'm sure historical aspects will be asked, and Kala temple was quite in news. So yes, I was expecting you would know, because and Uttar Pradesh is your first preference. So Amla, Indian gooseberry, is very much in very much talked about. Also, to create livelihood, it is important that we promote such products. So you just go through the state preference jo bhi hai aapka na, about that, and that is all from my side. Everything was really good. Thank you.
Fine, except that you should have known about the withdrawal of tax demands, because this is a new initiative government has taken. So just go through that. It is 25 rupees 20 up to rupees 25,000 up to the year 2009-10, and 10-11, and up to 2014-15 it is 10,000 rupees, 10,000 per demand. But the other thing I would like to say, your shoes are not up to the mark.
Okay, sir.
So when you go to for interview, change.
Yes, I will do.
That's otherwise it's fine.
So how many marks did you get last time around?
So last time it was low. It was 151 only.
151. So what are your learnings from that? What went wrong?
So there were 2-3 things which went wrong. One was I should have said I don't know more times, rather than trying to give my opinion where I was not firm. Second is that there was a lot of situation-based question, and I think that I should have taken more time to answer them, and should have not come into the pressure which they were trying to create, and should have involved a lot other more stakeholders while answering that. And third was overall controlling my anxiety.
So I think those aspects have been taken care of.
Yes,
the only thing is, just as everybody brought out, thoda current affairs वगैरह, just brush them up. Otherwise, you are good. थोड़ा सा मतलब I felt कि थोड़ा सा if you can just raise the decibels of the voice, because it is going at the same pitch throughout. So थोड़ा सा क्या होता है, it becomes a little boring. Just off and on, if you can just modulate a little bit. Otherwise, it's good.
Thank you so much.
Best wishes.
All the best.